Hello everyone, welcome to the Luke Branquino Show. Well, we're in for a special treat today, everyone. We have Paige Lawerence-Champion. Paige was, but she could probably still do it, a competitive Olympian skater. She's married to a champion bareback rider, and his name is actually Richmond Champion. I have got to spend a lot of time with Paige on the mental side of things because the last few years of my rodeo career, I've been struggling. And Paige, I want to thank you for what you've done for me as far as helping my mental game. And let's talk a little bit about that, on how you're trying to develop that, but where you're at in it with your business right now.
I got into it because, one, I was a bit of a head case as an athlete myself, and so had to learn firsthand how important the mental aspect of like performing at your best is. And when I retired, I knew I wanted to do something with that experience to benefit other people. And so this business venture of mine is really my own creation of being able to work with elite athletes and business owners on the mental aspects of showing up and being your best every single day. And it's been a wild ride, but really fun so far.
That was the biggest problem with me. You know, I was uptight. I was setting expectations instead of setting goals. And you really helped me through that as far as set your goals, because if you set expectations, you're not always going to achieve them, and that's going to make you feel like a failure. And that's what it felt like for me.
I think that one of the things I've learned through working with people that they underestimate is the power of words. And the words that you're using on a daily basis, they're shaping the experiences that you have. And so while often you can't go back and change an experience, you can go back and alter your words, you can learn from what you've been doing. And I think that that was what you and I did the most, was just like tuned into the words you were using and how that was shaping your reality to make some like small pivots. Because obviously you know what you're doing. Obviously you know how to be a top level athlete. There's just some nuances behind the things that we worked on.
The older I got, the injuries started happening. My body didn't quite feel as good. That's when the doubts and the thoughts really started creeping into my head. And do you find that when you're speaking with people that the older they get and their body starts breaking down, there's more thought process that they put into it that necessarily doesn't need to be there?
I think personal stuff can become like business stuff if we don't address it. And so for you, it was the injuries and being later in your career with the family. Your personal insecurities, your personal limitations, they show up in competition. And I think that that's really the important thing, is being able to get to know the person to figure out what it is that's blocking you and finding some ways to work around that.
Well, and growing up in a rodeo family, I know your family has stock up there and is a rodeo contracting family. Obviously, you know, being an Olympic skater, you have that mentality of competition and being able to speak to anybody, but is it a little easier to translate into the rodeo world?
I think that growing up on a ranch and around the rodeo world, it definitely shaped my personality. And I found that even as like a figure skater, I was very much that like hard truth, hardworking, just like don't want to beat around the bush kind of attitude. And I think that that's helped me to relate to the rodeo athletes that I work with. Like my style of communicating is just very blunt, to the point, call you out on your stuff if you need it. And I think that that really meshes well, you know, with the culture of rodeo. So it's kind of, it worked in my favor there, I think.
So Paige, when you're having these conversations with these athletes, whether rodeo, you know, whatever they are, or even business, like you said, what are your, say, main 2 points that you try to bring to them and say, this is what you need to focus on?
So I do think that the work I do is quite unique and individualized, which is the fun part of it. But universally, I would say, if I'm going to give 2 suggestions to people, one is to start paying attention to the words that you're saying to yourself all day long. Like listen into the thoughts that you're having. Because I think that people operate on autopilot for a lot of their lives, and they don't realize all the little ways that they're self-sabotaging or getting in their own ways just with the words that they're using. The second thing I would say is I feel like a lot of people struggle with confidence. And they think that confidence is something that you acquire after you've done some big, awesome, amazing thing. You're like, I did the thing and now I'm confident. And until you get to do that thing, whatever it may be, you struggle with that lack of confidence. And I would say that instead, I like to think of confidence as all the little choices that you make leading up to such a big event. And over time, confidence will be something that helps you to accomplish those big things. It's not gained in a moment, it's found daily in little moments.
Well, I know you've helped me a bunch. I know you've helped others. Paige, I appreciate your time. I look forward to having you on the show more than just this one time because I really enjoy our conversations and I think the fans will love every bit of it too.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited for you and I'll be subscribing to the podcast myself. So don't say anything bad about me.